As the wounded girl stumbled through the entrance of the city gates, she was exhausted and in excruciating pain. She leaned against a nearby building, her hand pressing against the deep gash on her thigh. She coughed, noticing the dryness of her throat and the blood staining her clothes. She looked around at the bustling city, hoping to see a kind stranger to ask for help. But what she saw made her heart sink. People were fighting in the streets, shouting and breaking things. The buildings were ablaze, with smoke filling the air. She could see people running for their lives, screams of panic echoing in her ears. The sight of the chaos only made her more desperate for help. She struggled to her feet, clutching her wound with trembling fingers. She limped forward, hoping to find someone, anyone, who could help. As she stumbled into the nearest alleyway, she saw a man lying on the ground, bleeding heavily from a stomach wound. The girl gasped, knowing she had to help him. She knelt down, examining his injury and frantically trying to stem the bleeding. Suddenly, behind her, she heard the sound of footsteps. She turned around to see a group of armed men approaching, their faces twisted in anger. They were shouting something, but the girl couldn't understand their language. She tried to explain that she was here to help the injured man, but they only seemed to grow angrier. With a sharp pain in her chest, she realized that she was in serious danger. She had no weapons and no hope of defending herself against these men. All she could do was cling to the injured man and wait for the worst. The men drew closer, brandishing their weapons and shouting louder. The girl closed her eyes, bracing herself for the inevitable. But then a voice cut through the chaos. "Stop right there." The girl opened her eyes to see a group of soldiers rushing towards her, their swords drawn. The armed men hesitated, eyeing the soldiers warily. The leader of the group stepped forward, his eyes locked with the girl's. "What's going on here?" he demanded. The girl explained everything, her voice trembling with fear. The soldiers listened carefully, nodding in understanding. "We'll take care of these guys," the soldier said. "You and the injured man come with us. We'll get you the help you need." The girl felt a sense of relief wash over her. She helped the soldier lift the injured man onto a stretcher, and they followed the group of soldiers out of the alleyway and into the streets. As they walked, the girl craned her neck, trying to see if the chaos had died down. To her surprise, she saw that the soldiers were in the process of restoring order. They were driving the armed men out of the city and helping those who had been injured in the fighting. By the time they reached the makeshift hospital, the girl felt a glimmer of hope. She watched as the soldiers worked tirelessly to care for the wounded, treating their wounds and easing their pain. And in that moment, she knew that she had finally found the help she needed.